That's one thing. The other thing is that his comment for me personally, Mr. Lee, are scary. Are really scary because what's next after telling people to
careful
F off?
Yes, thank you.
What's next?
Making a list. I don't really want to spend more time discussing his desperate plea for attention because it would involve giving him more attention. But I like the question of what's next, and we all know what's next. Violent language.
For me, for example, if two people squared up, and one of them.
Yeah, of course. Violent language leads to violent conduct.
Yeah, that would mean turn into a physical after
of course it would.
This sort of language.
Of course it would. The language of violence leads to acts of violence. I mean, there's just
because I've got children who doesn't. They are different in sort of color and accent to what.
Sure.
Mr. Lee sounds like. I worry about my children after politician. That meant to keep the place safe and in order.
Well, he has given people who are not likely to think too deeply about matters permission to speak disgustingly to people who aren't like them.
Morning, Nick. Basically, I just want to say is, have people forgotten Britain's foreign policy for the last 20 years? We've gone around mashing up everyone's homeland, i.e. Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya. It's a foreign policy.
We haven't mashed up Albania and Bulgaria, have we?
Well, then Albania and Bulgaria, that's a different situation. But most of your migrants
coming
or
to
your
this
asylum
country.
May I finish?
Well, yeah, but
you
can't ignore.
But they're not
Albanians.
all Albanian and Bulgarian, are they?
No, but they're not all Syrians or Iraqis either, are they?
But have you got a number? Have you got a number to say where they're from?
For the first 3 months,
they're from Africa. We know they're from Africa. We know they're from the Middle East.
For the first 3 months of this year, 40% of male arrivals were Albanians. And the last time I looked, we didn't wage war in Albania. I might have missed it, but I don't think I did.
Okay, so 40%. So what about the rest of the 60%? Anyhow, let me just make my point.
Yeah,
so the people that are fleeing the war-torn countries, we reap what we sow. Well, not me, the British government, with the illegal war in Iraq. Well, if we know now that 40% are Bulgarian and Albanian, but if the British government know that as a fact, so why don't they send them back if it's a safe country? What's the issue there? And also, I don't agree with the guy's comments. Yeah, I think they're absurd. And I don't call the Conservative Party. I call them the Crook-Servatives. Maybe they all have a share in the hotels, and that's why they allowed 5 million per day.
Yeah. You're writing scripts for TV shows still? The Crook-Servative? It's a good one, isn't it, really, James?
You like that?
I feel I'm still furious about that comment yesterday. I think what has happened, that our government, the deputy chairman of the Conservative Party, reflecting the very worst in our society, because I think what he said will have a chilling impact on people, particularly on racialised people in the UK, that have that sort of abuse screamed at them on the street from time to time. For that to be coming from the deputy chairman of the Tory party is shocking. And for then that to be doubled down on and referred to as salty and righteous, I think it's shocking. It's shocking. I'm still shocked by it.
I'm shocked by it too. I'm shocked by it in that I hoped that we lived in a better country and were led by better people, but not shocked by it because it looks increasingly like this is built in to the strategy, and with a green light or a blind eye from you know who, the Prime Minister.
And I think there seems to be this rhetoric that that's what the average working class, hard-working person wants to hear. I grew up on a council estate. Now, my parents were, hard-working parents, but never would any of my family or anyone that I know expect a leading politician to speak like that about refugees, because he knows that they are overwhelmingly refugees. And that's apart from the fact.
And even if he didn't, he's therefore in the wrong job and should get out of it.
Precisely. And this massive dumbing down, it's a dumbing down of information to the electorate, which is insulting, frankly, because he knows full well that people aren't coming from France. People are travelling via France. And he also knows that France takes at least 4 times as many asylum seekers than the UK. So, again, it's this misrepresentation, this oversimplification. And then to use that sort of language towards some of the people that the government makes very, very vulnerable in our country. I struggle to refer to them as vulnerable because in my dealings with them, they are extraordinarily brave and resilient people, but our government renders them very vulnerable in the way that they treat them.
And can I just ask you for a brief word on what Dr. Rakib Ehsan said there about if they're leaving dreadful, dreadful situations, it is a fair question to ask why they're complaining about, why they might complain about being placed in this barge.
I think that there's a discussion to be had, and if someone would like to, ask that question in a civilised way and have that discussion, then by all means, let's do that. I don't think that the comment from Lee Anderson lends itself to a civilised adult discussion. However, having said that, I think it's fair to say that people legitimately might have expected better from the UK than the treatment that they're receiving. I think it's interesting that the handful of people that stayed on that barge last night predominantly did so because they were promised by the Home Office that their asylum claims would be processed faster.
Don't get on the boat, you're automatically going home. How fair is that? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Yes. My comments, we've stayed on the barges. I work in the oil and gas industry, and I've actually stayed on similar bibby barges in the Shetlands, the Falklands, and also over in Norway.
Right. Was it two to a room, though, Roy?
No, they weren't. They were one to a room.
Yeah. That does make a difference, doesn't it, sir?
Yeah, but we also, when we work offshore in the North Sea on conventional platforms and rigs, 9 times out of 10, we are 2 to a room.
Okay.
Even today in 2023, that's the norm.
Okay. I mean, these aren't large rooms. I don't know if you've seen them on in your newspapers. The idea that if you don't go on board, you're automatically going back to Afghanistan or Syria. Would you support that, lastly, Roy?
Definitely. Yes, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not a supporter of the stories, and I never will be. But it doesn't matter what you try to instigate in this country, it's always wrong. People just jump on the bandwagon. I mean, there's an army of solicitors and lawyers getting fat on the back of these people, defending them.
That is your voice, particularly in Runcorn, that will be music to the ears of Conservative Command.